This is what I love, you know, I love to go to spice markets, I love to go to fish markets. When I'm able to travel around, I'm so lucky because I go to your hole-in-the-wall place. One of the best spice markets that I've ever been to. This is perfection for me.
David Beckham is one of the most revered celebrities worldwide. Unfortunately, his decision to become the star ambassador for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar drew a flurry of criticism. Qatar is known for its controversial treatment of migrant workers and for criminalising LGBTQ behaviour. Beckham's choice to promote the country despite these issues sparked massive backlash. In this video, we'll take a look at 10 notable reactions to David Beckham becoming an ambassador for the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Number 10. Russell Howard. There's going to be a few comedians on this list, and the first one of them is Russell Howard. He tackled the Qatar World Cup on an episode of his show, The Russell Howard Hour. And of course, it would be impossible to discuss the World Cup without mentioning David Beckham. Howard made fun of Beckham's decision to be an ambassador for Qatar in exchange for $150 million, despite the country's human rights issues.
No way, absolutely not. No, they've got an atrocious human rights record. There's no way you'll get me there. 150 million. Victoria! Pick out your best burqa.
He also ridiculed Beckham's statements that Qatar has top quality facilities ready for the World Cup, despite him being visibly unimpressed by the less than modest motel where the England team will be staying.
I'm sure it's lovely inside.
Howard even suggested that if Beckham was so money driven, he might endorse Russia if he was paid the right amount.
Is there anything he won't do for money? I reckon if you paid him enough, he'd promote Russia like this.
Number 9. Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan is best known as an entrepreneur who achieved success in the mobile phone industry, but he also knows a thing or two about football. After all, he did purchase the Crystal Palace FC and was its chairman for a decade from 2000 to 2010. On his show for TalkSport, Whaite and Jordan, with co-host Jim Whaite, Jordan harshly accuses Beckham of hypocrisy for his decision to promote the controversy-ridden Arab country despite being a UNICEF ambassador. On why Beckham said yes to Qatar's offer, Jordan says, it's not because he's seen changes, it's because he's seen 150 million quid coming his way. He added that Qatar is using Beckham's image to refurbish the country's image, but says that its issues regarding LGBTQ criminalisation and human rights shouldn't be made more acceptable through football and Beckham's involvement. Number 8. John Whaite. Strictly Come Dancing's John Whaite didn't hold back when he slammed Beckham's partnership with Qatar. While being interviewed by Metro at the TV Choice Awards held last November 14th, Whaite said that Beckham's role as a World Cup ambassador is disgusting, and that he's cheapening himself. Whaite also expressed regret about Beckham's decision, as his celebrity status could have been used for a better cause. He added, as someone with so much power and money, he has a chance to really, literally change lives, and he's doing the exact opposite. Number 7. John Oliver. Another TV personality who wasn't a fan of David Beckham being the World Cup ambassador is John Oliver. On an episode of his show, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, the host covered the controversy surrounding the World Cup, including Beckham's involvement.
World Cup got underway today, and we've talked before about the organisation behind it, FIFA, a cartel-like group of scumbags and assorted criminals who occasionally put on soccer matches.
In true John Oliver fashion, he hilariously mocked the football icon's video promoting Qatar, and how Beckham kept saying throughout the video that he loved this and that about the country.
So, by my count, David Beckham loves the following: food, food culture, spice markets, fish markets, Murakami, a taco, bike culture, and of course, being in the middle of nowhere, eating and talking.
Oliver suggested that Qatar might as well have Beckham say that he loves the more unrepresented aspects of Qatar if he really thinks so highly of the country.
I love public bathrooms. The aromas, the atmosphere, I just love them. I love cemeteries. Everyone knows how much I love tombstones and grieving families. I love proctologists' offices. I just love proctologist culture. This is perfection for me.
Oliver went for a comedic approach as he usually does, but it's obvious that he's making a far more poignant critique here. Number 6. Mel C. Mel C is another critic of the World Cup being held at Qatar. Speaking to UK's Attitude, the Spice Girl says it's all driven by greed, and whatever spin they put on it, the event will always be about the money. When pressed if she would perform at the event if given the chance, Mel told the Daily Mail that as an LGBTQ ally, she would be uncomfortable doing it. Since her bandmate Victoria is married to the World Cup ambassador, her comments were viewed as risking a potential Spice Girls feud. While Mel C remains firm in her stand, she acknowledged the difficulty in dealing with Beckham's decision. On the Not My Bag podcast, Mel said, "It's difficult. David is a friend, and everybody has to make their own choices." Number 5, Dan Wotton. Some journalists have also taken shots against Beckham for being the face of the Qatar World Cup. One of them is Dan Wotton, formerly the executive editor of The Sun and currently a columnist for Mail Online. Following the announcement that Beckham accepted a large sum to be the ambassador for the Qatar World Cup, Wotton published an article on Mail Online. In it, he slammed Beckham for taking the offer despite having a net worth of £380 million, consistently getting commercial deals, and identifying as a feminist, a humanitarian, and a champion of gay rights. He concludes this article by saying that Beckham is only interested in the size of his bulging wallet. Wotton didn't stop there. He published another article on Mail Online a couple of days before the World Cup began. Here, he mentions that his 10-year deal with Qatar is going to cost him his reputation forever. He begins the article with a fiery statement. There is now no bigger preening celebrity hypocrite on the planet than David Beckham. Wotton also criticised Beckham's wife, Spice Girl Victoria Beckham, for her role in her husband's acceptance of Qatar's offer. Apparently, Beckham consulted Posh Spice before signing the deal, something that Wotton can't wrap his head around considering that the Spice Girls made girl power a global phenomenon in the 90s. Number 4, Eric Cantona. Manchester United legend Eric Cantona was one of the earliest critics of the World Cup being held in Qatar. The former Man United captain said that he won't watch the games in protest of the country's record of human rights violations. He also stated he would refuse an ambassador role for the tournament if offered the chance. Unlike Cantona, his former teammate David Beckham accepted the multi-figure deal. Speaking on the decision, Cantona said his fellow football legend, who he slyly refers to as an ex-player, is making a big mistake. Number 3, Judge Rinder. Many know Judge Rinder as the host of the eponymous show, where he presides over civil cases in a studio setup. But in the real world, Robert Rinder has given his judgment on the case of David Beckham's decision to be an ambassador for Qatar, and it's not a favourable one. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Judge Rinder blasted Beckham for putting money before morals. He also criticised Qatar's discriminatory laws against the LGBTQ community and its poor treatment of migrant workers. The 44-year-old TV personality, who is openly gay, said it's not just about LGBTQ, it's about the 6,500 workers who died. It's about the fact that Beckham's daughter Harper would not be able to continue with her education if she was Qatari without the permission of a male relative. Rinder added that the World Cup being held in a country like Qatar is tragic, and he doesn't trust that the Qatari government will change its anti-homosexual laws just because of the global publicity the World Cup afforded them. Number 2, Will Young. Former Pop Idol winner Will Young has been acquainted with David Beckham, so it's understandably frustrating for the singer to see what the football icon has become. And he poured all these frustrations into an open letter directed at the World Cup ambassador. Young posted his letter on Instagram and even tagged Beckham. In it, he expressed his utter disappointment at the former player, especially his choice to stay silent on Qatar's history of causing the deaths of migrant workers and persecuting members of the LGBTQ community. At the end of the letter, Young challenged Beckham to give 10 million quid to LGBTQ charities for every year he's paid by Qatar. Number 1, Joe Lycett.
This is a message to David Beckham. I consider you, along with Kim Woodburn and Monty Don, to be a gay icon. You were the first Premiership footballer to do shoots with gay magazines like Attitude, to speak openly about your gay fans, and you married a Spice Girl, which is the gayest thing a human being can do.
With those opening words, Joe Lycett launched into a calm yet powerful tirade against David Beckham on November 18th. After acknowledging the football legend's status as a gay icon, he then proceeds to list reasons why Qatar shouldn't be promoted, highlighting its prejudice against homosexuals. Then Lycett gives Beckham an ultimatum.
If you end your relationship with Qatar, I'll donate this 10 grand of my own money, that's £1 for every million you're reportedly getting, to charities that support queer people in football. However, if you do not, at midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder just before the opening ceremony of the World Cup and stream it live on a website I've registered called benderslikebeckham.com.
Lycett gave Beckham a week to decide, and when the football legend didn't reply, well, we learned that the comedian wasn't joking around. Shortly after the stunt, Lycett posted another video where he clarified that he didn't really shred the 10 grand. While the cash that he put in the shredder was real, what came out of it was not. Instead, Lycett donated the money to LGBTQ charities, and even pointed out that he already gave out the money before he posted his challenge to Beckham on Twitter. The comedian called his stunt an empty threat designed to get people talking, and, well, it did just that. Whaite ended the video by shredding something else. Many people are clearly unhappy with David Beckham promoting a country steeped in human rights and anti-LGBT controversies. His deal with Qatar spans years, which means he'll be doing this for quite a while. Unfortunately for him, that also means years of tarnishing his reputation among fans and among the communities he claims to support. What's your reaction to David Beckham becoming the ambassador for the Qatar World Cup? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.